Okay, so we're looking at here the Constitution, U.S. Constitution annotated. This is Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7. What does it say? Let's read it together. No money shall be drawn from the this means U.S. Treasury, and they say Treasury here. They mean U.S. Treasury. But in consequence of appropriations made by law and a regular statement and account of receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. Any mention of Federal Reserve in here? Nope. All money that flows in and out of the United States by the Constitution of the United States is supposed to go through the U.S. Treasury. Not some made-up bunch of pontificating, blowing hot wind committee called the Federal Reserve, which we're going to see why their existence is a horrible idea and how it negatively impacts the market, impacts it in a bad way. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Now take a look at this. This is the US debtclock.org. This site's been around forever and a day. Here's the U.S. national debt, $33.9 trillion. There it is. What is the gross domestic product? Really basically the total value of U.S. productivity, $27 trillion. So here's the debt to GDP ratio, 122. In other words, we're a banana republic. That's what we are. We owe more money than we can possibly generate. There it is. Simple as it gets. If the Federal Reserve is doing such a great bang-up job and they're supposed to be handling financial policy and monetary policy, well, let's look at the grade book. Here it is. Well, they suck. They're failing. And when I was back in school, of course, they did letters and all this other stuff. You get an F for fail. Federal Reserve, their job right now is failure. I can just hear everybody saying they're not responsible for all this debt. It can't just be all on their shoulders. Hey, either they're responsible for the policy or they're not. Which one is it? They've been mandated to do it, right? That's the claim. We're going to keep the policy in check. Well, this debt, the chance of this debt being paid off is very, very slim, probably never going to happen. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to write this all off, right? Just write it off. But that basically makes every dollar that's in your pocket right now practically worthless because it already is anyway. Banana Republic. Okay, let's switch over to the charts. Okay, like we always do, let's start with the weekly chart. Here we are. You can see this week's gotten some pretty good gusto going on right over there. A range of 113. So pretty solid week, right? It's bumped way up here. It's got above the 47.39 resistance, which was this line right here. Okay, let me spread this out a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So there we are. So the only resistance above this would be the all-time high of 48.08. Now, before I talk about will we hit it, what's my opinion about all that, keep in mind January 14th is still a cycle low that's right there. Okay. And now I guess as good as any time to put in the next one. You figure out what that is. That is March 31st. So let's go ahead and just say duplicate this. And we'll put it right over here. For now, it's approximately March 31st, okay? Let's do that. There you go. All right. And the green one is what? April 7th, so close enough. Those two, probably a really good chance of decline out here in March based on what I'm seeing here. Okay, we'll come back to whether or not this is going to hit the all-time high in a moment. So let's look at the SMI. Right now it's at 90, call it 91. Now that's pretty high. It's pretty high. Let's look historically here. I'm not sure how far back I got this going on. Looks like it's just a year or two. Let's look at weekly max. Schmaxy maxi. Just kind of looking at some numbers here. 86, 83, 89. If you want to know what I'm looking at here, I'm looking at this number right here, this number. Okay. 75. I'm just grabbing some high points. This way back in 2015. This is back in, I'm sorry, what was this? This was 2018, 90, 2017, this was 83. Here's an 87. Right now we're at 90. Okay. 89. I was looking at all the times this thing kind of peaked out. Peaked out over here at 87, and then about 2 months later it crashed. Not crashed, but it came down pretty hard. Okay, so anyway, we're getting a pretty good feel and looking at this weekly chart, just going back historically, that, yeah, the SMI is very elevated. Sitting way up here right now, up in this area at almost 91. That's pretty much matching the high we've ever seen in this particular indicator over the last, 5 years, right? Okay, we'll come back to this in a moment, the momentum, because that's a big deal. Okay, here we are on the weekly chart, again, still for the Big Daddy forecast, 462 almost for the Big Daddy. Now, I've only seen it a little bit higher than this a few times. Like, I think I've seen 470. I don't know if I've ever seen a 500. I don't think I've seen it. I think I've seen a 470, maybe a 480. So you can see that this is extremely elevated. The market is absolutely cooking, burning hot. All right. And we'll talk about the universe data here in a moment when we look at the daily. So let's talk about, so far, just looking at SMI, the Big Daddy forecast, where the price is at. Things are very, very peaky, overcooked, overbought, over and out, Roger Dodger. It's way the heck up there beyond nosebleed section. It's so high I run out of oxygen. Now, here in the MACD, it's at 83. Now, if you look, keep an eye on that. You see way back here, back in May of 21, it was 175. So it can definitely get higher on the weekly. Okay, this is when they were printing all that crazy money and just going nuts. The Federal Reserve just printing money, just printing a bunch of money, but they're not to blame. Oh no, it can't be them. It's like whatever. Again, all that dark money and all the money they lent out. If we ever crack open the books of the Federal Reserve, you're going to find some really nasty criminal activity in those books. I guarantee it. They handed money out they weren't supposed to hand out. They gave money to nations they weren't supposed to give it to. They gave money to private entities or just entities that are other than nations they weren't supposed to do. Oh yeah, it's in the books. I'm sure they probably tried to conceal a lot of it and done a pretty good job. But if there ever is an audit, and there should have been one already a few years back before Congressman Ron Paul had retired, he actually got an 80% vote in the House, but the Senate mysteriously decided to not go with what the people's will was and said, no, we can't show an audit. It would be bad. It would be bad, all right. Be bad for the Federal Reserve and all their cooked books. So we're in a little bit different time. Obviously, right now they're not cooking. I mean, they're not cooking yet. They're still cooking in books, that's for sure. Them in BlackRock. But they're not printing money like mad dogs right now. So this is a different scenario where we're at today. That's what makes these numbers even more dangerous. Okay, the only thing keeping the market going right now, guys and gals, is momentum. And a lot of people, that's the only thing they know is momentum. But there's a lot more that makes the world go around than just momentum. The only thing keeping the market going higher is momentum. That's it. Everything else is saying, all the other data is saying we're about to crash and burn. All right, so the weekly, that's the story. There's more room for momentum, but nothing else. What you're gonna notice is a little curl up here. See it? A little curl. So we'll start with this first. If this is what I think it is, which was an inversion, this is going this way, right? The market went this way. Then we're going to see how this plays out. If this is an inversion, then I expect the market to start to get ready to do this. Okay. So the market didn't follow this down. It did exactly the opposite, right? Everybody can agree, right? This went down, the market went up. So we're going to see how this plays out. Does this invert? Does the inversion stay intact, in other words? Because if it does, then the market will pull back hard if this continues to rise. So this was the first day in a while we've seen the universe energy level begin to rise. All right? So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying I got this all figured out. I'm just saying if this truly is inversion, which that's what it looks like to me, and the inversion continues, then the market could get ready for a pretty big pullback here. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right, let's take a look at the Big Daddy forecast. 442 on the daily. Yeah, smoking hot. Absolutely smoking hot. I've seen 460 maybe on the daily. Maybe 470. Anything above 430 is just absolutely ripping. Okay, so just another indication, both on the daily, both on the weekly and the daily, saying watch out, the market is like severely overcooked. Okay, here we are on the daily for the SMI. Look at this. I'm sitting up here almost at 93. Now, I looked at this just before coming online here to do this video. Okay, no, hang on a second. No, never mind. That was the MACD. We'll talk about the MACD in a second. But this is very high. 92 is extremely high. Like, it doesn't get much higher than this. And you can see divergence has been going nuts on both these indicators. That's what those dots are. Okay, so let's talk about the MACD. It's sitting up here at 77 right now, as of today. Because yesterday it was the close of just today's market that just closed was at 72. But right now, as trading is opened up for tonight, it's already up to 77. Okay, so it may not hold that. If we get a red candlestick, then this number is going to come down, obviously. But right now, it's at 77. Because the market's trading right now here in the night session for futures, right? Basically, the next day session is what this really is. It's not really no such thing as a night session. It's just the next day. So why is this such a big deal, this 77? Just clear the screen. Talk about this number right here on the MACD. Because in the last 5 years, on the daily chart, it's only been higher twice than this. Okay, I just checked it. There was something, I think, in 2022, August of 2022, I think, if I remember right, and something back in 2018. I think it was June. I don't remember exactly. But only 2 other times in the last 5 years has it been higher than this. All right, so the dailies begin to really also, even on this momentum, okay, because like I said, the only thing making the market go higher is momentum. All the data that I track is saying, forget about this, abandon ship. So be aware that, in my opinion, the momentum is really, normally this is where we'd see it begin to start running out of gas. Like sometimes already it would have ran out of gas, but we have a very strong market here, obviously. Okay, so things are a little bit different. All right, let's take a look at the trade of the day. I didn't say earlier, did I think we were going to hit 48.08? Yeah, I think there's a good chance we'll hit 48.08, yes. I think there's still a good chance we'll do that. I don't have it on the daily chart, but obviously it's going to be like just right up here. Right, be a line about right in this area here. Okay, I can put it on there. It's no big deal. At this point, we're only like, 40 points away. So at this point, it's not really that big of a deal that it might hit the all-time high. Let me just put it up there, 48. I'll just try to get it close, and then we'll deal with it. Okay, I'll just strip it back to there. And do a little edit here. And we'll get it right. All right. 48.08. I think it's actually a quarter, but I'll just leave it like that. Quarter's no big deal. Put the big old squeezy 2 on it. Duplicate this. Okay. Edit. 48.08. Okay. So there you go. That's it right there. You can see this little candlestick forming right there. Okay, obviously this number is for this year. 47.65 is the high for this year, which is happening right now as we speak and do this video. All right, so good chance we'll get to this all-time high, and good chance we might even go right through it. Though I'm convinced this market is going to pull back, and I'm convinced this is pretty much bull trap stuff going on up here. All right, my opinion is keep positions small, and understand risk management. Do I think you should stop trading? No. Take advantage of the market. Make money. By all means. Trade. Be profitable. Just be wise. Okay. Let's go look at the trade of the day, which is on the 15-minute chart. Should be pretty obvious what the trade of the day was because everybody sat around ho-hum waiting for the idiots over at the fear of missing crap meeting. Happened at around 2 o'clock, I guess, East Coast time. The market literally was at like 11 points for like most of the day, just sitting there because nobody wanted to trade because we have to wait for them to give us the okay to trade. Okay, it's not a free market. That's my whole point. That's the whole point of this, talking about the Federal Reserve. It's not a free market. If you got the market being so heavily dependent on what these boneheads say, does that sound like a free market to you? It's not. There's too much dependency between the market and these criminals who pretend that they're doing us all a favor by, handling the inflation they created. It's their policies. They get to choose to print how much money, hold back how much money, lend how much money to China, do this, do that, backroom deals, BlackRock deals on the open market, which should be illegal, but they do it anyway. It's completely illegal. They should not be allowed to operate in the open market, but they do. They manipulate the market. As far as I'm concerned, the entire Federal Reserve should be dismantled, and every one of them should be put into prison. It's the same as stealing your money. Just most people don't even realize it. Okay, let's talk about, let me get rid of the universe because we don't need to really see that. But we do need to see the Giddis plus. So we'll turn that on. All right, so it's pretty obvious. Where was the trade of the day? Gee, that's hard to figure out. Well, is it right about there? Even this one was kind of okay. But since everybody knew that the fear of missing crap meeting was going to happen today, to me it's just silly. The market was going to go up. I mean, they were going to have to come out and say something like, we're raising a full point. I mean, everybody was poised just for the market to go up, right? I mean, it's so stupid. I mean, this was a no-brainer trade. It's down here laying around for 2 or 3 hours. Look at this, laying around for 2 or 3 hours, flat as a door. And, I won't say what I was about to say, but very flat here on the MACD, just flat. Look at this, flat the whole time, just absolutely flat, nothing going on. Everybody waiting. Okay, it's like a no-brainer. Take a small position, wait for it to go ballistic. Absolute no-brainer. Okay, you don't even need to do the trade of the day because the whole world thinks that what these guys have to say is the most important thing ever, and we have to wait around for them to give us permission to trade. Oh my. Bull crap. That's what that is. Total bull crap. But I understand that's what the world does, and I'm more than willing to make money off of the talking heads as much as anybody else. So by all means, if that's the way the world wants to do it, I'm not going to argue with it. I'll make money long, short, makes no difference to me. Right, so if you want to become a member, there's a link in the description just below this video. Make sure you read the instructions very carefully so you don't have any problems joining. Once you click on the link, it's going to bring you over to Get a Server. You click on Server Shop. It brings you to this page right here. $7.99. Okay, that's just crazy cheap. Crazy cheap. I got a lot of members making anywhere from $100 to $300 a day. Probably 2, 3, 4 times a week. Okay, I'm not promising you're going to do that. It has a lot to do with your account size, your maturity, and a lot of other things come into play. But many of my members don't even think about the $7.99. They're just trading, and this money is easily covered by their trading, okay? Let's talk about what comes with the service. Well, you get streaming charts. That's down here at the bottom. So when you join, you can click on this channel down here, and you get the streaming charts. The charts are the 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the 1 hour streaming live. And just like you saw on the trade of the day, the Giddis Plus indicators on all those charts. So it helps guide. That indicator basically says it thinks there's a trade coming, and it really doesn't get any simpler than that. If you watch today's video, then in my previous videos, I talk about almost every time I put out a video, the trade of the day. And I talk about how I would personally make these trades, and sometimes I do make those trades. I use the service myself, and how I use the SMI and the MACD along with the Giddis Plus indicator to make bank, okay? So watch some of the older videos. That'll help you out with the trade of the day. You can just kind of hunt through the video. Usually I do the trade of the day kind of towards the end of the video, so you can look there, okay? But if you join the service, you get the streaming charts. You come down here, you join, you can click on this and watch the streaming charts, okay? When the Get Us Plus indicator on those charts indicates that there might be a trade, it sends an alert over to this channel right here. Really nice. So if you're busy, you can just turn on notifications for this channel and you'll get alerted. Okay, the app works on desktops, laptops, cell phones, okay? But remember, read the instructions before you join because that's important. Okay, so those streaming charts work with this alert. They work together, okay? There's also alerts, but not charts for these. Gold, crude oil, and top 30 stocks for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 going to these, respectively to each of these channels. Okay, daily alerts, this would be when there's a symbol that has an alert only on the daily chart, then it'll go into that channel. Okay, this channel gets the 5-minute, the S&P 500 alerts channel. This channel gets the 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the 1-hour alerts all go into here. Okay, and occasionally if the S&P 500 has a daily alert, which doesn't happen too often, but if it does, it'll go in there too. All right, premium symbols. This is where I put symbols in there every day. I just put symbols in there today. There's symbols for futures. Like I noticed soybeans have been in there the last couple days. So it looks like soybeans are getting ready to be a good trade. But there's other futures products in there too if you're trading futures. There's also stocks that are optionable. So there's a file in there for that. There'll be industries in there sometimes and symbols that look like they might be getting ready to be shorted. Okay, so there could be as much as 4 different files in there that have symbols. Sometimes it might be less, just depends what's going on that day. So that channel is very helpful for those people that want to look at some symbols and possibly pick out some symbols that could be traded. Okay, currency. This is occasionally I'll trade currency. I might trade the British pound. I might trade the Aussie dollar. Sometimes I trade the euro dollar. Okay, if I do that, I'll put it in here and just let everybody know, hey, I'm trading the currency and this is what I'm doing. I don't do that too often, but it happens sometimes. Okay, every night, Monday through Thursday, I put out email. You get it. The email has the S&P 500 chart attached to it. And I also put at least a few sentences of my opinion in there. Now, just want to touch on this this subject matter here about emails. Discord's been changing, making all the members and everybody on Discord to change their names. I don't know why they did it. Okay, it's a pain in the rear. But they've been slowly rolling out. You got to go change your name. So if you're not getting emails, just be patient because it's not always easy to pick up the email, the new email address and the new handle and do all that. So if you're having problems with the email, just, mention it in there, or you can mention it in the member chat. But if it's email specific, just mention it in the email only channel and I'll try to take care of it for you. Okay. Make sure you check your spam because sometimes when these things change, the email send out will hit the spam folder on your email. So check it. If it's there, most email providers let you mark it as not spam. Okay, that's really important because then all the other subsequent nightly emails that come in will automatically go to your inbox rather than the spam folder, right? So make sure you're checking that. Okay, fixed income. This would be corporate bonds because I do purchase corporate bonds from time to time. Also, since we have such high inflation right now, I put in some CD rates in here from some banks. And I also put in here recently savings. I have a savings account right now that's paying me over 5%. So that's all. I put that in here as well. Okay. Solar activity, I do keep track of that because that's part of the universe indicator and some other things going on there. These are just general chat channels, the member chat and SP 500. If you have a support issue, if it's email, just put it in the emails only. Any other support issues, just put it in member chat and I'll try to pick it up as quick as I can. And then, just members talking mostly in the SP 500. This is the only channel that's not members. Everybody can get in here, but it's basically just hello, hi, I've arrived kind of channel. So there's really nothing in there. All right. So that should pretty much cover it. Again, if you want to join, make sure you read the instructions in the description just below this YouTube video. Click on the link. It'll bring you to this server. Click on server shops and then come over here and $7.99. My opinion, I'd pay for 3 months. Okay, it's $25, right? $25. And I would learn the cycle analysis because I use that extensively. I use it on the 1 hour streaming chart. I use it on the daily chart. So take your time, learn psychoanalysis, understand what the Get Us Plus indicator, how it works, how it can help you, how to use it with the SMI and the MACD on those streaming charts. Plus, maybe some of your own ideas. You can merge some of this service that I have with your own ideas, right? But like I said, go back, watch some of the older videos just in the last couple weeks. I always have the trade of the day in there, and I talk about how I would make the trade. And like I said, sometimes if I'm not too busy, I actually do make some trades. I think in the last month, I made a $900 trade and an $1,825 trade, I think it was. And I really haven't had a lot of time to trade because I've just been busy doing other stuff. And those, when the market was chopping sideways, I made good money in a choppy market. So right now we have a very bullish market, so there's the opportunities is easier. All right, that's it. Happy trading, everybody. God bless everybody. We'll talk to you all real soon again next time.